Hello coders, again we are discussing in this video microservice authorization by using JSon Web token or JWT. So JWT or JWT is a very regularly used mechanism for authorization. We are going to use a Spring Boot application for demonstrating this microservice authorization with the help of JWT. In previous video, we have discussed the same mechanism but by using cookie in place of JWT. We have gone for using microservice authorization by using cookie. But I had already told in the previous video, which I will share in the description box, regarding the limitation of cookie, that is only applicable to web applications, because it is the client has to be on a web application, because cookie can be available only to the web browsers. But sometimes we may have the requirement to use the microservice endpoints from mobile applications or non-web application also. So in that case, we will not have the luxury of using cookie. So we have to go for using JWT for authorization of our endpoints. So why we need this authorization, that's already we have discussed, and again I am just going to recall you regarding this endpoint authorization. So here in this diagram you can see when the user will come to a servicing center with its details, means user calls the servicing center with the complaint, with the details, with the his or her consumer detail, everything the user will provide at the first time request. When the representative will attend the call, first of all the representative will validate the request in the DB, means the user is a valid user or not, or valid consumer or not. Then what happens in case of JWT? What happens when the user, the representative, when it provides a response to the user, it not only provides the response to the user as the result of the problem which the user is expecting, it will provide the problem resolve process, and as well as with it, it will provide details about the user as a token, so that when the next time onwards the user will come with the new complaint, the user will have the token with the request. So you can see when the second time when the user calls to the servicing center, it comes with the token, so that the second representative, or maybe the same representative who had attended the first call, the same representative also will not remain stateless, will find out who had called, what is his or his or her details, because it is there going to be available in the JWT token, and he will provide or she will provide, that representative will provide the result process. Same will repeated for the further request, because the further request will always carry the JWT token, so that user need not to provide the consumer details each and every time he or she calls to the servicing center. That is why we need this authorization, or else every time the user will come, user will provide the consumer detail, so that the representative will go for validating the consumer detail in the database. So that is not going to happen in case of authorization process whichever we are following. So we had seen how to go for using it in cookie. Now we will see how to do it in session, by using JWT. So JWT, more or less I have tried to summarize what happens in case of JWT over here. Let me make it a So this is going to be better. In fact, when the user comes, it provides the request to the endpoint. So endpoint 1, endpoint 2, or any number of endpoints we may have in the web service. The endpoint 1, suppose, is going to authenticate the user with the help of the web security class. So for authentication, first of all, the endpoints has to be authorized, because the user, whoever is there, the user is authorized to access these endpoints or not. That is going to be decided by a class which is called as web security class. In Spring Security, we have a class called as web security configurer adapter, that we have to subclass, or we have to go for inheriting it. We have to override a configure method over there, and in the configure method we have to authorize the endpoint, whoever is available or whoever can be available to the user. So that's what I have written here. Authorization means allow or deny access, means who is going to be accessed or which endpoints can be accessed by the user. That is going to be the job of web security class. Once the web security class passes the authorization process, then it is going to authenticate the user with the help of a filter. The filter will receive the request of the user. It will authenticate the user is going to be a valid user or not with the help of a class, a service class, which may connect to the database to find out the proper username and password. The username password might be in the hashed manner or encrypted manner, or it might be in the plain text, but that doesn't matter. But the class will be validating the username and password or the credential, and as well as once the validation is done, it will create a JWT or you can say JSon Web token with the help of a util class. The token which we will create as the JSon Web token, that will contain a header, that will contain a payload, that will contain a signature. So three parts will be there, separated by a dot. So header, dot, payload, dot, signature. We will not be able to understand what is going to be there in the header or payload or signature, but we will be finding three different hexadecimal values, or you can say not exactly hexadecimal, but encrypted values in the header section, in the payload section, and the signature section. That is going to be the JWT. So that is going to be available as to the filter. The filter is going to be used for further authentication, means it has found the detail of the user, it has got the JWT. Now both the things, user details has been authenticated and JWT has been created. Now it is going to be provided to the user with the response whichever we want to provide from the endpoint. Maybe in the first endpoint we will provide just the JWT, and second endpoint onwards we will provide the actual service whichever we want to provide to the user. And second endpoint onwards, the user will always provide the request and as well as the token whichever the user has got from the first request. And each time the user will provide the request, again it will go to the web service or web security, then it is going to do the same job once per request filter. With the help of do filter internal, it will accept the request and response, it will do the user validation, and it will take the validation of JWT, it's accessible or not. Then again the endpoint 2 will provide the response. Same thing will happen for the remaining things. So here we are going to use authorization with the help of JWT and authentication also, but authentication is going to be plain text format, because authentication is a part of Spring Security. The Spring Security we are going to implement, but not full-fledgedly, because we will go for minimizing the request, minimizing the impact project. I will have a sample project for you. This project is going to be available in the description section. I will be giving it in the link. I have created a web page for it. In that web page I have already put everything whatever is required. So here I have created a Spring Boot project. This is Spring Boot JWT. That's what the Spring Boot project I have created. How to create a Spring Boot project, that also is going to be available in the page which I have created. Let me show you that page. So here is the web page which I will share. So here the video is already embedded in that page to show you how to create a Spring Boot application. If you have not created yet, you can follow that video. Okay, let me go back to this Spring toolsuite. So here, after creating your sample Spring Boot application, then you can add two dependencies which are important for us for this project. One is the Spring Boot starter security, and second one is the JWT. These are the two dependencies we have to add with this inbuilt dependencies, whichever is going to be available to the Spring Boot application. So first of all, let us have a look at the controller part. After creating the project, you have to create this controller. The controller is going to have various endpoints. So here is the controller. You can see this controller is having two endpoints. One is Authenticate, which is going to call this method create authenticate token. The job of this method is basically to authenticate the user by taking the help of the username and password as the parameter and comparing it with the static text. As you can see here, I have gone for comparing with ABCD as the username, password as the 1234. In this place we may take the help of the service whichever we may have, which will take the help of the DB so that we can have the dynamic username and password. But here I want to minimize the project, so that's why I have gone for creating only the static comparison. Then if this comparison is going to be successful, that is, it is going to return a response entity which will have, if this will not success in fact, then it will go for returning invalid credential with the help of response entity. If it doesn't return, means the username password will going to be valid, then what is going to happen? It is going to load the user. So user details is going to be loaded with the help of this user detail service, with the help of load username which is there in the user detail service. I have already created the user detail service. Let us go to this load username. So load username is going to be available as a user detail service, which is a predefined class available in the Spring Security, which accepts the username and returns the user detail. So user detail is going to be provided to this JWT token which we are going to create, and that token is going to be validated. If it is valid, then it is going to return the token to the user. Means if the username is valid, password is valid, then it is going to create that token with the help of this JWT token util and return that token to the user. So this is what is the authenticate process, and I have gone for creating another endpoint, simply hello. It is going to give us the output as hello JWT. So this is what two endpoints I have created. Let us have a look at the remaining things which are important for us. That is, first we have to go for creating this after creating this controller. This is what is the service. It's a very simple thing. In this location we are going for loading the username by comparing the username and password and returning the user detail, as we saw in the controller part. We got the user detail from the load username. So load user detail is the interface. Load user detail service is the interface which need to be inherited by the JWT user detail service which I have created over here, which is a service class, and it is annotated by using our service annotation. So once this user detail has been authenticated, then it is going to take the help of this user detail JWT request filter. In fact, the JWT request filter, what it does, it has this do internal filter internal method which will authorize. It will take the value of authorization which will be available from the client application. here we are going to use a Postman as the client application, and once this client application is going to authorize it with the help of this, if it is not null and it starts with a bearer. Bearer is the prefix which we always use with the JWT token. So once this bearer is available, because bearer starts with 7 letters will be discarded from the beginning. Then we are going to find out the username from the token. This is going to happen from the second time onwards. Means first time only the authentication is going to happen and token will be returned. Token will be created to the user and returned to the user with the help of the response. Second time onwards, this process is going to happen, because second time onwards the token is going to be available. And in the token part, when JWT token, if you will see, so here is the token class we have created. This is nothing but a component. We have created it with the help of the component annotation. In this case, I have created a secret which is going to be the part of this JWT. So here the generate token method is very much important. This token which you are creating, this is going to have this validity. This is going to contain the how long it is going to be valid, and the secret which you have declared LKJH, I have written something as a value. This secret will be the part of the JWT token with the username and password. The payload is going to contain this secret also for each user with the hashing mechanism of 512 HS 512 I have used. Then this validate token is going to find out the second time onwards. This validate token is going to help us to find out the token is valid or not and find out the username. So that's what we have done here in the filter. We are finding out the username with the help of get username token. Okay, so this is what the util. This is basically for creating the JWT token. This is the filter which is going to receive each request for authentication of user with the help of the JWT and the username, password or the credential, and everything is done in the controller part, where there are two endpoints we have created. One is authenticate and another is hello. So now let us go for testing it. Let me run it first. So then I will run it as a Spring Boot application. Now so it should be started. Let me move myself to somewhere else. Yeah, so it has started. Let us go to this. This is what is the postman. Already I have typed this port number. The port number is 8086 is the port number I have used. Let me see. Okay, so first time it says invalid credential because the 8086 port number. Authenticate is the endpoint. The username and password, two keys I have provided, ABCD and 1 2 3 4 5 as the password I have provided, which is wrong. If I will provide the right username and password, let me see what happens. So here this part which you are seeing, that is the main part of the discussion. Three parts as I have said from the beginning. So that is what the JSON token. Okay, so this is encrypted format is available as a JSON token. So if I will go for accessing the hello directly without providing anything in the as a token, let's see what's going to happen. The hello is the second endpoint we have. When we access the endpoint by using the get, it doesn't take any argument. So when we say send it, then it gives access denied. So 403. That is what is the authorization and as well as authentication. Authenticate is the method which is available in the non authorization process, and hello is the hello needs to be authorized by the web security. So hello now needs the key. The key is going to be what? Now in the header we are going to provide the authorization as the key, and the value is going to be the bearer. So let me check it. So here is the authorization as the key, and bearer, it starts with the bearer as the prefix, and here in the second part we are going to have the JWT which we have got from the authenticate. So let me copy it and put it over here after the bearer prefix. Now if I will send it, so now you can see we got this hello JWT. If I will, because that is what is the proper output of the hello endpoint. If I will change something over here in the something I will provide as the garbage, then here again it says the invalid JWT token, it is not going to be validated. Okay, so that is what is the use of JWT, and how we can authenticate, how we can authorize, that we saw in this video. And in the next video we will see how to use this authorization and authentication process in a proper Java based application, not by the postman. So thanks for watching.